You feel it on a Sunday afternoon? That hollow, restless pull. You have everything. Food in the fridge, shelter over your head, a phone full of people you could talk to, and yet something inside you feels wrong. Like you're supposed to be somewhere else, doing something else. Like you're missing a task you were never given. That feeling has a name, and the name is not laziness, it's not ingratitude, it's not depression, though it can look like it. That feeling is your genome running software for a world that no longer exists. You were built for 10,000 years ago, and nobody told you. The human body you're walking around in right now, the nervous system, the stress hormones, the hunger cues, the craving for sunlight and silence and physical exhaustion, that body was designed by millions of years of evolution. Most of those years were spent in small groups, in open landscapes, solving immediate, concrete problems. Find food, avoid danger, build shelter, stay warm, maintain alliances, sleep when it's dark. That's the operating system you were born with, and you're running it in a world that looks nothing like the environment it was designed for. Anthropologist Joseph Henrich has spent decades studying how human cognition evolved in relation to our social and physical environments. His work makes one thing clear: the human brain is extraordinarily good at solving the kinds of problems that faced small-scale hunter-gatherer societies. It is not naturally equipped for the specific abstraction, sedentary routine, and information overload of modern life. That's not an insult, it's a mismatch. And mismatches are painful. Think about what your average day actually involves. You wake up not because your body decided it was rested, but because a device makes a sound. You eat not because you're hungry, but because the clock says it's time. You sit for 8, 9, 10 hours, not moving, not using your body, not solving anything with your hands, and then you feel guilty that you're tired. You scroll through thousands of faces and pieces of information your brain was never built to process. You compete for status in organizations with hundreds or thousands of people when your brain evolved to track the social dynamics of a group of roughly 150. That number, 150, comes from evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar. His research suggests that 150 is the cognitive ceiling for stable human social relationships. That's how many people your brain can genuinely keep track of. Their faces, their histories, their loyalties, their moods. For most of human prehistory, that was roughly the size of your entire world. Everyone you would ever know. Everyone who mattered. Now your phone shows you the opinions of millions of strangers every single day. Your brain tries to process all of it. It can't, and the attempt costs something. Psychologist Lawrence Kermeyer, who studies the relationship between culture and mental health, describes this phenomenon as the tension between the evolved mind and the constructed environment. We did not evolve in the environment we currently inhabit. We evolved in an environment of immediate return, where your efforts produced visible, tangible results quickly. You hunted. You either got food or you didn't, and you knew it by sundown. You gathered, you built, you repaired. Every action had a clear, near-immediate outcome. Your nervous system learned to expect that. It was calibrated for it. Now you send an email and wait 3 days for a reply. You work on a project for 6 months before you see any result. You invest in a relationship and don't know for years whether it was worth it. You study for a degree and spend a decade before the payoff materializes, if it materializes at all. Your ancient nervous system does not understand delayed return environments. It wasn't built for them. It wants the feedback loop. It wants the kill or the empty-handed walk back to camp. It can handle failure. What it struggles with is ambiguity, and modern life is almost entirely ambiguous. Your anxiety, in many cases, is not a malfunction. It's a surveillance system that was designed to detect threats in a world where threats were visible. A predator, a rival, a storm. Your cortisol spikes at an angry email the same way it would have spiked at the sound of something moving in the dark. Your heart rate climbs in a performance review the same way it climbed before a confrontation that might determine your place in the group. The stakes feel existential because for most of human history, they were. But here's the thing about 10,000 years ago. Here's what the restless part of you is actually longing for. Beneath the nostalgia and the fantasy, it was not easier. Skeletal analysis of hunter-gatherer remains shows fractures, healed injuries, signs of prolonged hunger, evidence of violent trauma. A bad harvest didn't mean an uncomfortable year. It meant children who didn't survive it. A territorial conflict didn't mean a lawsuit. It meant people you loved didn't come home. The romanticized past your brain reaches toward when modern life feels hollow. That past was genuinely brutal in ways you have never experienced and will likely never have to. The longing is not for the hardship. It's for the clarity. You're not longing for suffering. You're longing for a world where the relationship between your effort and your outcome was transparent, where your body was used for the thing it was built to do, where the people around you were people you actually knew, where the problems in front of you were solvable with your hands, your legs, your instincts, not with a spreadsheet and a performance review. Here's the strange irony. The things that most reliably make modern humans feel alive, deeply, viscerally alive, are the things that most closely replicate the conditions of that older world. Long walks in nature, physical exhaustion from real effort, making something with your hands, eating food you prepared yourself, deep conversation with a small group of people you trust, sleeping when it gets dark, waking with the sun, being cold and then warm, being hungry and then fed. These are not hobbies. They're not wellness trends. They're your ancestral environment leaking through. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has written extensively about how the brain constructs its sense of time and meaning from the density of new experience. When every day looks like the last, time compresses, memory thins. Life feels like it's passing faster the older you get, not because time is actually accelerating, but because your brain is filing fewer distinct moments to retrieve. Hunter-gatherer life was relentlessly novel. New terrain every few days, new challenges, new problems requiring real-time solutions. Your memory was built to hold a life like that, a life where something new happened every day that was actually worth filing. No wonder the years start to blur. You were not born too late in the sense that you missed something precious and irretrievable. You were born into a world that evolved faster than the genome can follow. Evolution works across thousands of generations. The agricultural revolution happened roughly 10,000 years ago. The industrial revolution happened roughly 250 years ago. The digital revolution happened in the last 30. Your DNA had no time to catch up, no time to rewire the stress response, recalibrate the social brain, or redesign the reward system for a world of infinite information, sedentary work, and delayed return. You are, right now, a Paleolithic mind navigating a 21st century world. That is not a metaphor. That is your literal biological situation, and understanding it changes something. Not everything, but something. When the restlessness comes, that hollow Sunday afternoon feeling, that sense of displacement, that gnawing suspicion that you are built for something you can't name, you can recognize it for what it is. It's not evidence that your life is wrong. It's not proof that you failed to find the right career, the right city, the right relationship. It is your ancient operating system scanning the horizon for a landscape that no longer exists. The scan will keep running. That's not something you fix. That's something you understand. Because the stranger truth, the one that lands differently once you sit with it, is this. The fact that you feel out of place in the modern world is not a sign that something went wrong with you. It's a sign that something went extraordinarily right with the 300,000 years of humans who came before you. They were so perfectly adapted to their world that the echoes of that adaptation still run in you, full strength, unreduced, in a world almost nothing like theirs. That hollow, restless feeling you had on a Sunday afternoon, that wasn't emptiness. That was your ancestors, still running.